The king of gold, imagine this. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates. We call them billionaires, the richest men alive. But in truth, their fortunes are just crumbs compared to a man who lived over 700 years ago. His name? Mansa Musa, the emperor of Mali, the man whose wealth was so legendary. It bent the economy of entire nations. When Musa traveled, he didn't just move with guards and advisors. He brought tens of thousands of people, soldiers, scholars, servants, and hundreds of camels so weighed down with gold that the world has still not forgotten. Musa was more than a man. He was a myth in his own lifetime, a king of kings, a ruler whose name stretched from the golden sands of Africa to the courts of Europe and the mosques of the Middle East. Yet today, how often do we hear of him? His story is missing from textbooks. His empire is ignored in Hollywood epics, but tonight, we change that. This is the story of the richest man who ever lived. The rise of Mali, our story, begins not with Musa himself, but with the land he inherited, the Empire of Mali. It was the 14th century, in the beating heart of West Africa, a time when kingdoms rose and fell not with bombs or oil, but with the trade of two things, salt and gold, and Mali had both. Picture it, caravans stretching across the Sahara, carrying slabs of salt as valuable as gold in that age. Ships sailed down the Niger River, their holds filled with shimmering dust and golden nuggets mined from the earth. By the time Musa was born, Mali was already one of the wealthiest kingdoms on Earth. Its borders stretched over 1 million square kilometers. From the Atlantic Ocean to deep into the Sahara, cities like Timbuktu and Gao weren't just trading posts. They were alive with merchants, scholars, and builders. Mosques rose into the sky, and libraries housed manuscripts on science, medicine, and law. This was not a dark continent, as Europe would later claim. This was a place of light, learning, and riches, but every empire needs a leader. And in 1312, Mali's destiny would shift, because a man named Musa, a young noble, perhaps underestimated by his rivals, suddenly became emperor, and with him, Mali would reach heights the world had never seen. Musa takes power. Musa's rise to the throne wasn't ordinary. Legend says he was appointed as deputy while the previous emperor went on an ambitious voyage, possibly to cross the Atlantic. That emperor never returned, and so the crown passed to Musa. From the start, Musa was different. He wasn't content with just defending Mali's borders. He wanted to expand, to bring more land, more people, and more resources under his control, and he did. Through diplomacy and war, Musa stretched Mali's empire even further. He secured crucial trade routes, ensuring gold and salt flowed steadily into his coffers. But Musa wasn't just a conqueror. He was also a visionary. He saw wealth not only as power, but as a tool for legacy. While others hoarded, Musa planned. While others counted their gold, Musa dreamed of using it to transform his empire into something eternal. And soon, the entire world would witness the size of his dreams, because Musa was about to embark on a journey that would shake history itself, wealth beyond imagination. How rich was Mansa Musa, really? Historians struggle to even put a number on it. Some modern economists estimate his fortune at over $400 billion in today's money, but even that doesn't quite capture it. Because Musa's wealth wasn't in stocks or tech companies, it was in something far more ancient and powerful: gold. Mali sat on top of the largest gold reserves in the medieval world. At one point, this empire supplied nearly half of the world's gold. Imagine, every coin minted in Europe, every jewel worn by a sultan, every ornament in a king's court. Chances are that gold came from Mali, and at the center of it all was Musa, a man so wealthy that even his servants carried golden staffs. Even his horses were draped in silk. Even his mosques gleamed with golden domes. But here's the twist. Musa didn't just sit in his palace counting treasure. He had a deeper purpose: to show the world not only Mali's wealth, but its greatness. And so in 1324 he made a decision that would etch his name into history forever. He would go on the Hajj, the sacred pilgrimage to Mecca, and he would not go quietly. No. Mansa Musa would travel in a way the world had never seen. The legendary pilgrimage picture this: a caravan stretching as far as the eye could see, tens of thousands of people walking across the desert, soldiers in gleaming armor, slaves and servants carrying provisions, scholars, architects, traders, and at the center, Mansa Musa himself. A king dressed in silk and gold, riding with dignity across the sands. But the most shocking part? The camels. Hundreds of camels, each carrying hundreds of pounds of pure gold. When Musa passed through cities, he didn't just stay the night. He transformed them. In Cairo, he spent so much gold that the entire Egyptian economy collapsed. Gold lost its value for more than a decade. Imagine that. One man's generosity, or extravagance, shifted global markets. But this wasn't just a display of wealth. Musa was making a point. He was telling the world, Mali is here. Africa is here. We are powerful. We are rich. And we belong at the center of global civilization. The pilgrimage wasn't just religious. It was political. It was economic. It was a flex so massive that the ripples still echo today. News of Musa spread like wildfire. Mapmakers in Europe, who had never set foot in Africa, began drawing him on their charts. On the famous 1375 Catalan Atlas, Mansa Musa appears holding a golden orb, the literal symbol of wealth itself. For the first time, Africa wasn't just a blank space to Europeans. It had a face, the face of Mansa Musa, the richest man in the world, Timbuktu. The Golden City, when Mansa Musa returned from his pilgrimage, he wasn't the same man. He had seen Mecca. He had seen Cairo. He had walked among the greatest centers of culture, learning, and religion in the known world, and he thought, why not here? Why not in Mali? So, he poured his wealth into a single vision, to turn his empire into the intellectual and cultural capital of Africa. At the heart of that vision was Timbuktu. To us today, Timbuktu sounds like a faraway place at the end of the world. But in Musa's time, it was the center of the world. He commissioned mosques that defied the imagination, like the Jinguereber Mosque. Built with the help of architects he brought from Cairo, he ordered palaces, libraries, and schools. And most importantly, he made Timbuktu a hub of learning. Here, scholars debated philosophy, astronomy, law, medicine. Manuscripts were copied and sold like precious treasures. At its peak, Timbuktu's libraries held hundreds of thousands of books. Some say more than anywhere else in the world at the time. Think about that. While Europe was crawling through the Dark Ages, Mali was a beacon of light, knowledge, and progress, and all of it, every dome, every book, every stone, was fueled by the gold of Mansa Musa, the legacy of a king. But here's the thing about wealth. It fades. Gold can be spent. Empires rise and fall. So what truly lasts? For Musa, it wasn't just the gold. It was the legacy. He left behind an empire so strong that even centuries later, people still told stories of his greatness. He left behind a city, at Timbuktu, that became a symbol of African brilliance. He left behind the image of a black king who redefined power on a global stage, and maybe most importantly, he left behind a reminder that history has always been bigger than the stories we're told in school. Because when we think of the richest man in history, our minds jump to Silicon Valley or Wall Street. But the truth is, the ultimate king of wealth was a black man from Mali, a man who gave so much gold away that he broke economies, a man who turned a desert city into the envy of the world, a man who proved that Africa was not a forgotten land, but a cradle of greatness. Mansa Musa's story isn't just about money, it's about vision, it's about power. It's about the legacy of black excellence, a legacy that still inspires today. So the next time someone asks you who the richest man in the world is, don't say Musk, don't say Bezos, don't say Gates, say his name. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Because the more we tell these stories, the harder it becomes for anyone to erase them again.